Who the hell can wait till morning? Talk now at latenightsportsradio.com.
Your matchups, who wins? Lynch or Belichick's D? That made me laugh because Belichick's D. And Lynch, and he grabs his D.
Welcome back to the Friendly Confines for part 2, because Andy didn't hit record of the Claire-Vs-Carlson Show, episode 22. There are many things you can put in your ears. This is one of them. At least we didn't get too far.
No.
We're part of the Late Night Sports Radio Network, latenightsportsradio.com. She is Claire. Dom Capers ruined my childhood Mullins at the Claire Bear 23 NFL Female Podcast. And I'm Andy Carlson at Andy Carlson Show, Purple for the Win Football Convos. We can be found on Twitter at Claire-Vs-Carlson, YouTube, iTunes, blah, 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 Facebook. Hi, Claire, part 2.
Hi, Andrew. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. You know what? We got 2 minutes in, and I found that I had paused the main recorder. We still have the backup one, except I don't really trust it that much. So we decided to start our witty banter all over again for part 2.
Well, it's too bad that the audience missed the first part, but we can, redo, make it more fun.
Well, now you're mostly just talking about your lips on your mouth, so
yeah. Well, let's not get crass, Andy. Yeah. So I thought that maybe you'd ask me again why I took off, and I had an even better story, but that's okay.
Oh yes, Claire. Why did you miss episode 21?
Well, because never mind. It's not funny anymore. It's not funny. It's lost its luster. It feels forced.
No, just put it out there because you went to a doctor who is not a medical doctor, but still think that he's saving lives because he took fat out of your ass and then put it into your lips. Collagen.
Yes, Andy, that's exactly what I did. And so now I have big, formerly Claire butt-sized lips.
You're doing the permanent duck face.
It's never going to go away.
All of your photos.
I'm ducky forever.
There's a lot of things that people call you ducky.
Yeah. Really, I didn't do that, just so everybody knows. I mean, I don't want them thinking, like, getting tweets later, oh, my God, really? Did you really go and get – people will believe that, so let's not. No, I was actually adopting a Ukrainian refugee baby, but that took a little longer than I thought, paperwork and all, so that's not really happening.
What paperwork is there really when you're just giving cash to some guy in a van?
Yeah, exactly. So, you should get the baby out of the country. That would be difficult. So anyway, really, I was just hanging out with my boss because he decided that would be a good time for him to come work with me. Because usually I'm all by myself out there in the world, and he decided he wanted to see what I do.
Now, when you're hanging out with your boss, do you just stay in the Arby's or do you venture out of the restaurant?
No, he works really hard. And my goal is to always, make it appear that he doesn't work any harder than me. I'm working as hard as him. But it's hard because he goes. So that was interesting couple days. Oh, yeah. He did catch me rolling my eyes at him once when he was trying to tell me how to drive.
Well,
you need to move your car forward so you'll be on the plate so the light knows when to change. Really? I know how to drive. I've done this.
Well, I feel like the eye roll was warranted in that spot because that seems pretty condescending.
I thought so too, right? And so hopefully, if he does listen, we kind of had a discussion about it. I'm like, well, really, I know where the plate is and how to
and also, how can he not get you doing the eye roll? Because it seems like you're on a perma eye roll.
That's true. I kind of am. I can't stop it. They just roll around in my head like they are not attached to anything.
Speaking of not attached to anything, Claire is going to be detached from the show in 2 episodes. That's pretty sad. So sad.
Hurts my soul. It hurts my soul. It really does because I love the idea of the show. I love doing the show, but it just coincided with when I got my job, and then my job became so demanding that Andy does everything, and then I show up, and I barely have time, and it's just a mess, and I don't want to put him through that anymore. So Andy will continue. Somehow Andy will make it without me, and it's going to be a great show.
Actually, the announcement is that we mentioned that Die will be replacing you.
Mhm.
And
Let's just die.
on February 11th, we're actually going to a live format. It'll also be available on podcast on our own iTunes and have our own website. But it's going to be a live format, live on YouTube. And I'm working on all the kinks to get that set up. It's going to be Minnesota sports centric, since that's pretty much in Die and myself's wheelhouse. I'm going to miss talking about the Texans every day, although I might just drop a Reggie McNeil reference for your agginess, just because.
Oh, that's really sweet. It's like a remembrance.
No, but it'll be good. I'm pretty excited. And, hey, this was your baby coming in, and I was happy to be a part of it. But it will live on. It will be the forebearer of this new project. Ooh, we also have a name now.
What is your name?
It's
not Hot for Teacher, is it? Because I don't think Di likes that one.
No, also PA and Dubé is an inside joke, but the name will be Andy Must Die.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Wordplay, goulet.
I like it.
And that's how we roll. All right, so since you basically have your 2 weeks notice, and let's just make these last two episodes complete fun. And the big topic of this week is going to be pitchers and catchers report for baseball in a couple of days.
That's awesome, dude.
All right. So Super Bowl, all Super Bowl, everything. And we're not going to make this all the, stats and figures and all of the various matchups. And we're going to keep it pretty light, not a ton of Deflategate, all that other crap. And we're just going to talk about the game like two fans, two homies, just talking about it back and forth. And all the other technical stuff, leave that for the better radio shows and Pro Football Focus. But no, we're just going to keep it light, right?
I think light is best.
Because when it comes down to it, this is supposed to be fun, right?
That's the point, to make it fun. And no one really, we have been beating stats and matchups to death for almost 2 weeks straight. Everybody's over it. So let's just talk about affiliated stuff and just who we think will win based on gut instinct and that sort of thing, emotional attachments. It'll be a good time.
Well, we may as well start with a little rant because baseball was one of my favorite sports growing up and watching the Twins up here. But I got sort of turned off in my teens when all the sabermetrics and various stats came in where you couldn't have a debate or argument because everything was so black and white. They just throw stats at you. And I do feel like football is starting to become that way a little bit because I love and respect everything that Pro Football Focus does. But now that their stats and their PFF ratings are more widely available, it just seems like that's gospel now. So when you're talking about comparing player A to player B, they'll be like, oh, well, his player B's PFF grade is plus 17 higher than player A, so it's not even close. Right.
And it just becomes so solely numbers driven, and people stop paying attention to what is actually happening on the field. Like, watch the game, see who's dominating, because stats don't tell every story. They just don't. And some players dominate without crazy huge numbers in a particular category. So, I don't know. It's just, I like the idea of being able to have that available, but there's nothing that can replace watching the game, to me.
Yeah, I was like going back to my grandma test because my grandma watched every game except she wasn't all into the big details, but she'll tell you if a player is good or not. So you just run by Chris Carter, oh, he can play. Or player X, no, he's not good. I more lean that way than the hardcore PFF grades or statistical analysis that other sites do. But
right. Well, and I mean, like if you're too busy of a person or you don't want to actually have the time to sit and watch the game or make the time, then those, I guess, rankings can be valuable if you want to feel like you're speaking informed about the game. But, yeah, I mean, I'd rather hear about the big play so-and-so made last weekend, even though he's not a top PFF guy. A game-changing play is way more important than his PFF grade.
Yeah. All right, so let's get to the actual game. Can we say Super Bowl? Is that legal or?
TM, trademarked.
Or that too, or the C with the circle around it. One of those.
Copyright. Yeah.
All right, so coming into the game, Patriots are 1 to 1.5 favorites in a lot of spot. And the main storylines, other than Deflategate, because that's been talked to death. Now, Now let's talk about Deflategate. All right, real quick. 15 seconds, big deal or not a big deal if the ball was actually deflated like it's alleged to be?
Well, I've seen this one story. Okay, it might be more than 15 seconds, but I think it's a different angle that a lot of people haven't looked at. I mean, you're just looking at thinking, oh, in the passing game, excuse me, I had to cough. In the passing game, the deflated ball is going to help, blah, blah, blah. No, if you go back and look, since Peyton Manning and Tom Brady lobbied the NFL to allow them to provide their own balls, and what was it, 2006? Mm-hmm. If you look at those seasons and after, the Patriots have a sizable advantage over every team in the NFL in the fumble department. And it's a sizable advantage, and it happened to change right at that time. So it just makes you wonder. I'm not saying it's a conspiracy, whatever, but it is quite curious that their particular balls were found to be deflated, and they tend to be able to hold onto the ball better than any team in the whole NFL.
Except for Stephen Ridley. How do you explain Stephen Ridley and his fumbles?
Well, maybe he just doesn't like to hold the ball.
Maybe he's just really terrible. Hands. Now, devil's avocado here. If the ball is easier to catch and hang on to, wouldn't that make Tom Brady's passes easier to intercept? So, in actuality, it's a competitive disadvantage, and Tom Brady deserves more accolades on top of what he already has.
Well, maybe.
But
maybe Tom Brady is just more accurate than most quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah, I really don't think it's that big of a deal, considering that pretty much every quarterback of every single team does it. Because I always go back to the Vikings and Panthers in the November game when it was like -15, where keeping each team was keeping their game footballs over by the heater, and you're not supposed to do that either. So every team either plays with the inflation, plays with the scuffing of it, and get it to where the quarterback can like it. So I don't understand why the NFL is making seemingly a mountain of molehills like this, because they want offense. If every single ball is inflated to 13.5, watch we're going to have a bunch of 13-10 games. Woohoo. Ba-bow.
Do you think it is the NFL wants this because they think it's somehow ruins the sport, or do you think they want this because all the fans of 31 other teams who hate the Patriots want them to be punished?
Yeah, I don't know why the NFL set the Patriots up in a sting operation, because they were tipped off by the Colts in their November game that this is something to look for. So I don't know why they put out this entire huge deal instead of telling the Patriots, hey, just knock it off. Because this is a lot of bad PR, and it is because it is the whole Patriots. I mean, if this was the Titans, no one would care.
Right.
Or heck, even to a degree, if this was the Seahawks, I don't think anyone would really care either. Even though the Seahawks are, they kind of, you can go back and forth, and people like, the whole PEDs and the Pete Carroll and blah, blah, blah. But it just seems like something in a year of bad press and PR that the NFL could have easily not swept under the table, but why'd they have to pull the pin on this grenade?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe they just didn't think it would become a thing.
All right, back to the fun stuff. So
fun.
No more
Yay, fun. Woohoo.
All right, Marshawn Lynch punking the media, because that's basically what he's doing. He's playing the media now, and a whole bunch of writers have gotten onto their soapbox. Brian Murphy, Pioneer Press up here, most notably saying that, without the NFL media, Marshawn Lynch should be playing football in a parking lot for $8 an hour or something to that effect. And it's complete over-the-top, sanctimonious, holier-than-thou crap. But I'm starting to think that there isn't anything wrong with Lynch, like social anxiety disorder. Now he's just having fun with it.
Oh, yeah. Well, he doesn't like the media. One of his quotes, and I don't know the exact story, but one of his quotes was totally taken out of context in a story. It made him look kind of bad. And ever since then, he has not been a fan of the media. And fortunately or unfortunately, NFL says that you got to talk to those guys, the media. And, he's being held accountable to that, but you can't hold him accountable for the words that come out of his mouth as long as they don't break any rules. I'm talking to you. I may not say what you want to hear, but I'm talking to you. So I'm following the rules. And the NFL has ruled itself into a corner, honestly, in my opinion. Not like ruled like as in rain or something. I mean, rule as in all the things that they have devised to make their game better, their brand better. They're so intricate that they can only enforce so much. Like with the balls, with personal conduct, with the having to speak to the media. There are so many little rules to break and rules to enforce that tons of things either go unpunished or are overpunished. And it's just silly to me. And they've gotten way too picky in how they regulate the game.
Yeah, and I was thinking about this earlier in the week. If all NFL players did not have to speak to the media at all, like they didn't have to do, post-practice, post-game, locker room, talking to the local beat writers, what percentage would not? And I think probably like 70% wouldn't even say a peep, unless they're forced to.
Would it be horrible for the NFL to require that teams provide, 10 members of their organization, a team, to present to the media?
Yeah, see, I think that would be fair, because then you get 10 guys, maybe not 100% would want to, but you'd weed out a lot of the cliches, and guys like Richard Sherman would definitely have his platform be at the forefront. And plus, a lot of these guys who the media's talking to, getting quotes from, they're not the most articulate in the world.
Right.
And, they're just going to roll the ball out there and be like, we played a great game, gave 110%, we had a great opponent, and blah, blah, blah. I mean, I get that the NFL is popular because fans want to engage with these players, want to know what these guys are talking about.
Right.
But 95% of it is chaff and just dribble.
Right. I mean, people don't want to hear from that cliche guy who, barely finished school somewhere and can hardly cogently put together a sentence. They don't want to really hear from that guy.
See, even Tom Brady and Russell Wilson, they are very eloquent speakers and very boisterous, but they also talk in cliches. They give you absolutely nothing.
Right. Well, and you're walking such a fine line because you can only say the same thing so many times in so many ways. And you don't want to give away any of your team's secrets, because a lot of the questions that are asked, if you answer them honestly without the cliches, you're going to be giving away proprietary information that you don't want the world to know. So you have to walk that line. And I think that there comes a point of diminishing returns. You're going to keep hearing the same thing. I mean, you can want to ask Arian Foster all week long about, what made this game so great. Well, it's always going to be his offensive line. It's always going to be that the defense gave them more time on the field. It's always going to be the same cliches.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Right.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
You just run out of things to say.
Yeah, and I don't know. I do think that Lynch is getting too much attention for the whole "I'm just here so I don't get fined" thing. It is perhaps that he is very intelligent, articulate by his Skittles commercial and other various things. And did you see him on Conan last night?
Nope.
That thing was very funny. Him and Gronk playing Mortal Kombat against each other.
Oh, that's pretty fantastic. I need to find that video.
And I think the media just needs to step off, because honestly, if they just completely ignore him, I think that would actually be for the best.
Can you tell me how silly it is whenever the man, after the second time, he says, "I'm just here so I don't get fined," and you continue to ask 20 more questions and get the same answer, and then you're mad about that? Well, then go focus your attention on someone else, someone who wants to talk to you, because there are plenty of players who do want to talk to you, and there are enough that are good in front of the camera that you can still get your story in. And then you still get your story about, oh, Marshawn doesn't talk to the media. We hate him. We hate him. We hate him. That's your story. You're giving them more by not talking to them at this point in the NFL world than you are by talking to them.
Although I do think he gives us some great stuff like, "I'm just about that action, boss." And
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm thankful. All right, so the thing that I love about the Super Bowl is that it does seem like the football and media convention. All the radio shows, even Tom, Dick, and Harry over on 97.5, Sioux City's finest, or whatever. Yeah. Go down to the Super Bowl site, Radio Row. Every show has great guests because they just go through and do the car wash thing. And were you around in Houston in 2004 when they hosted the Super Bowl for the first time?
Oh, no, I did. I was living in California at the time, so I really didn't. Yeah, have my hands in that at all. Sadly.
Oh, but it is pretty exciting that Super Bowl 51 is going to be in Houston, so you'll be all up in that. And Super Bowl 52, you'll be back up in the great state of Minnesota. I'm pretty pumped for that.
And that one was, I remember that when that happened, that was a surprise. It's like, whoa, Minnesota in January, February. Okay, that sounds interesting.
Well, they had Super Bowl 26 up here in Minneapolis at the Dome. And the thing is that downtown Minneapolis, it's like a lot of cold cold weather metropolitan areas where everything's connected through skyways and subways.
Uh-huh.
So once the media and fans get here, if they get a place downtown, they basically don't have to go outside until they have to go to the game. So it's not so bad. And by all accounts, they did a pretty phenomenal job last time. And now we're finally getting it back because we built the NFL stadium. Hello.
Hello. Yeah, it usually gets you some attention.
Bird killing stadium.
Poor birds. I can't believe all y'all are ruining those poor birds' flocks.
What are some storylines that you're looking forward to for this Super Bowl?
Gosh, really, the whole repeat thing is kind of a cool story because it's been so long since a team has actually been in that situation. And for, I'm not the world's biggest Seahawks fan, but at the same time, Russell Wilson quarterbacking a team and getting to the Super Bowl twice so early in his career and having the potential, if he won that Super Bowl again, that would be a pretty fantastic story, I think.
See, I think he's a good quarterback for what they ask him to do.
Right.
And I think he's a great person, except sometimes, especially his State Farm commercials come off as, too, scrubbed up and too PR and too political. They almost give me diabetes.
Look, man, I find something strange about Russell Wilson. I think I don't know. Something's going on. I don't know what it is, but I feel weird about him. I don't know. But
we complain about the NFL having all these bad guys like Ray Rice and Greg Hardy, but Russell Wilson is the complete opposite of it. So we should be praising him. But there's something about the whole too PR to too political, like the Peyton Manning persona, like I guess JJ Watt in your case.
Yep. And
it just seems, don't want to say disingenuous, but it doesn't seem like they're being a real person,
Yeah, absolutely.
Almost like
it's
stock caricature.
They're hiding their worst parts from the public, and that's fine. Most people try to do that, but then you have PR people on top of it, and
Ask me about my football dreams.
I don't know, but my point is that in this quarterback-driven league, quote unquote, in this day and age, for a quarterback like Russell Wilson to come in, I think it's more of a team thing. Mm-hmm. The organization has created a team that can win despite not having, your typical 2010s, 2000s, 21st century quarterback.
Now, I think Russell Wilson is going to, if they do win, and even if they don't win, they're going to have a couple of solid years, even though Wilson's going to be due to get paid this offseason, and be interesting to see how the team dynamics will play out there. But I do feel like he will get a little bit of the Terry Bradshaw treatment, where he's a good quarterback, but he's surrounded by so much talent that he won't get the recognition that a Montana or even a Tom Brady gets.
I don't think he'll get that reputation, but I think that as long as he continues to not screw up on the field and not screw up off the field, he will be remembered in the future as a very, a stellar quarterback. Not saying he'll be statistically one of the best, but...
Well, no, it's so weird. If you talk about the greatest quarterback of all time conversation, it starts with Joe Montana, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Johnny Unitas, and then you get about 6 or 7 names down the list before you get to Terry Bradshaw, who won 4 Super Bowls.
Exactly, that's true. Very true. But, you still talk about Terry Bradshaw. People still recognize him as, as a quarterback who was with those teams.
Because he's on the Fox pregame show, and he does that shingles commercial.
No, but even before that, though, I think Terry Bradshaw was always regarded as, he didn't screw it up for the team. And I think that if you're in a position and you can be a leader on the field and off the field and not screw it up for your team, well, then you're going to get a lot of credit as a quarterback in the NFL.
John Elway, Dan Marino, too. I'm just trying to compile a list, but sorry.
That's okay.
I wasn't listening.
Oh, great.
I'm just kidding. All right, the Super Bowl is back in Glendale. The last time the Super Bowl was in the great state of Arizona. Patriots lost in that Super Bowl 42, 17-14 in, what was that game? What happened in the whole, was it David Tyree? David Tyree with the helmet catch, his last NFL catch. How crazy is that?
That's pretty insane right there. But that was his last catch ever. So, I don't know. That was That was pretty cool, though, because the Patriots were all undefeated going in, and that was the one game that they lost that season. It happened to be the biggest game of the season, and yeah, it was big time. I remember that happening. It was pretty cool.
And not to go all conspiracy theory, but 2007, a record-setting offense with the Patriots that was 2 years removed after Brady and Peyton successfully leveled. Get my own football. Although I'm pretty sure that Brady and Randy Moss in his prime could have been playing with the cinder block, and they still would have completely jacked fools.
They really would have playing with the cinder block. You cracked me up. Yeah, totally.
Patriots are 3-4 in the Super Bowl all time. Wait, is that right? All right, yeah. All right, so they lost twice to the Giants. They lost to the Packers in '96, and then they lost to the '85 Bears. Okay, those are the 4 losses. Oh, you got 4 Super Bowl losses. Oh, I'm so sorry
sad
for the Patriots. So you got the 3 wins. At least you aren't 0 for 4. Like, I don't know. Seahawks are 1-1. They lost that 2005 matchup with the Steelers and also the referees.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, they completely jacked the Broncos last year. Brady's 6th Super Bowl appearance, most of any quarterback of all time, can get his 4th ring, tying Bradshaw and Joe Montana. I said Joe Montana.
Oh, well, I don't think he was ever on the field, but that's okay.
System quarterback. Probably not. Bill Belichick's 6th Super Bowl appearance as well, breaks his own record of 5 and can get his 4th ring, which would tie him all time with who, Claire?
You tell me.
Pittsburgh head coach, Chuck Noll.
Chuck Noll, yes,
Right.
Chuck Noll.
And then back to Russell Wilson before he hit the break, can win his 2nd straight Super Bowl, 2nd in 3 years, and is in line this offseason to get paid.
Big money. I mean, there's so few quarterbacks and so many teams who need quarterbacks. So, yeah.
Well, do you think he's going to end up being the highest paid quarterback next season?
I don't know about the highest paid. I don't know if he can command Peyton Manning money, or whatever, but he'll do all right. He'll do pretty darn well. He'll probably be top 5th, top 10th.
It seems like every top 10 quarterback who's in line to get paid next leapfrogs everyone else, and to get to that $23-24 million a year area. And it'll be interesting to see if he's the kind of guy who would take a little less to help the team, like Roethlisberger did with his last contract, and Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, or if he's going to completely Flacco and Breeze this whole thing. Because we talk about Breeze as being a good quarterback. He's getting up there in age, but his contract paired with Jimmy Graham's completely hamstrung the Saints, and they're going to be in cap hell next year.
Yeah, and I think I've been talking about this off and on with other people that, yeah, they've put together a really good team, but they're going to have to find a way to pay for them come next season. And it's getting closer, but at the same time, you look at Pete Carroll's record with the Seahawks at finding those under-the-radar players and making them superstars. And he's kind of done that. So I don't know how worried I am for them.
And then just going back to Russell Wilson, we've talked about off and on the shows that I don't know if Russell Wilson's the type of guy who could lead you back from 4 touchdowns down or win a shootout for you. But he did lead them back against Green Bay, mostly because Green Bay was only up 16 because Mike McCarthy's a big chicken, and that should have been at least, I don't know, like 24-0 at halftime. But he did come back throwing the 4 picks, even though the 4th pick they should have ran back. But that's here nor there. And I don't know. Wilson does seem like a team player. Maybe he will take 16. I don't see him taking like a pay-as-you-go Kaepernick deal. Like, he deserves some guaranteed money, but I don't see him going all Flacco $120.6 million either.
I don't either. And I think that I feel like he seems like the type who knows where his bread is buttered, and that if he goes to another team, he may not be in a situation to succeed like he's been put into in Seattle. And I think that he recognizes that likely. He's not a stupid man by any means. So I think that he would do what it took to stay with Seattle.
Absolutely. Speaking of staying with Seattle, stay with us throughout the break. First break coming up, Claire-Vs-Carlson, BRB.
Oh.
Hello?
For daily conversations with the players, coaches, and contributors that make this game great.
Regulators, mount up. We're coming.
Football Convos. Visit footballconvos.com or visit us at iTunes.
And we're back for part 2 of the Claire-Vs-Carlson Show, episode 22. And Claire just telling me how much she loves Dave Matthews.
I don't love him at all.
DMB.
I don't love him at all.
Sure.
That's actually not terrible. I mean, a terrible impression. It's terrible, but contrary to popular belief, I'm a very kind person to people who I like, and so my boyfriend loves them, and his birthday is around there, and so I said, I'll treat the dude. He's nice, so there you go. Going to see Dave Matthews Band.
I'm not like a hardcore Dave Matthews fan, except I appreciate his music. I understand it. I went to a liberal public college, so obviously I was surrounded by it.
Yeah, well, I actually saw him, many, many years ago. I don't know. I mean, I'm going to go sit outside in May in Houston on lawn seats to watch Dave Matthews Band, so I guess this guy is something. I don't know.
All right, so getting back to the big game, the Super Bowl, as it were, is coming up. Under the radar players who could affect the game. Everyone's talking about Brady and Wilson and Beast Mode and Gronk and Richard Sherman and Earl Thomas. Ooh, how are their injuries going to affect them? But, Claire, give me one under-the-radar player who could have a big impact on the game Sunday.
Well, my guy isn't under the radar at all, but I feel like he will be the key. And I really think that well, I'm not going to say who. I think whatever.
Ooh, don't steal
What?
Don't steal my player, but who is it?
Is it LeGarrette Blount?
Nope. All right, good.
Okay, good. Then I'm good. So LeGarrette Blount will, I think, his running will be the key against that. Brady and his receivers have to go up against that secondary, and I think that LeGarrette's role on the ground is going to be important. I mean, he's had some really good games of late, especially with the Patriots. He doesn't fumble with the Patriots, which, curious.
Now, do you buy the stories at all that he may have orchestrated his departure from Pittsburgh so he could end up in New England again? Or is that all hooey?
Does it matter? I mean, they had to agree to it contractually somehow or another, either to end the contract or whatever they did. I don't know what they did.
Well, you can imagine that phone call. Belichick's on the phone blunt. All right, so you just need to leave the field. So Tomlin will cut you, and then we'll let you pass through waivers, and then we'll just sign you afterward.
And that's fine. I don't have a problem with that, really. I mean, I'm sure that there is some sort of rule in the NFL where you're not supposed to do that. But
are you accusing on air the Patriots of tampering with LeGarrette Blount, Claire?
No, because I don't know enough facts.
All right, fine.
But if they did, I would understand it, and I don't know that I would hold it against them because I try to look at the Patriots like any other team. If my team did that, I'd be like, oh, cool, awesome, get your dude, man. I mean, I have no problem with that.
Now, do you think the Vikings tampered at all with Ben Tate?
No. Well, if they did, I feel sorry for them.
About that. Oh, going back, did you flip out in the Steelers playoff game when Ben Tate got the first 2 touches?
I didn't flip out, but
you're like, what?
Yeah, kind of. Like,
all right, so
really?
Back on task. My under-the-radar player who could have a big impact on this game is future free agent Viking Devin McCourty, safety for the New England Patriots. I think he's going to have a big impact on this game, a lot like Clinton Dix did in the NFC title game, because Belichick is smart, and he knows where the Seahawks' offense's bread is buttered. They're going to do everything they can to stop beast mode. I think Vince Wilfork could be a big part of that as well. And if they're able to hold Lynch in check and Wilson has to beat them through the air, he's throwing to hangry Doug Baldwin. Sorry, Doug, you're not that good, but it happens. Jermaine Kearse, Luke Wilson, And they're going up against Browner, Revis, and then I think McCourty is going to be that guy back there. Wilson can put up some ducks, especially if he's forced to throw. And I think McCourty could be the huge benefit back there. Free safety, ball hawk, might have a pick, might have two, might take one to the house. Could be sneaky Super Bowl MVP. Bazam.
There you have it. I think that's great. It's pretty good analysis, and I would love to see that happen, honestly.
Oh, so you're tipping your hand, Claire, where you're going to go for your pick at the end.
Well,
That's
that's
okay.
okay.
Speaking of Super Bowl MVP, why don't we pull that up? Looking at the MVP odds, at the top, as always, you have Tom Brady going off at 8-5. All these odds are over at Bovada, or Bodog, as it were. Russell Wilson 7-2, Marshawn Lynch at 4-1, which seems kind of low.
Yeah.
Actually, that seems pretty high, to be honest. Rob Gronkowski 9-1, LeGarrette Blount, your boy, 12-1. And then Edelman, 25-1. Revis, Doug Baldwin, Cam Chancellor, Richard Sherman, all 33-1. And let's see, my boy, Devin McCourty, 100-1. I might put a little stank on that. How about that? Claire, which person would you be willing to bet on from the list?
Ooh, from the list? Gosh, golly gee.
As he puffing your e-cig.
Oh, you can hear that? Okay, my bad. I don't know. I want it to be some under the radar player that no one cares about or pays attention to.
You mean like Malcolm Smith?
Yes. I love it when that happens. I love it when it's not the quarterback. I mean, even if the quarterback threw for 6 touchdowns and 600 yards, I would love for the MVP to not be the quarterback because it's just so expected when it's the quarterback. I like the unexpected.
Well, it was so funny last year because they had no idea who they were going to give the Super Bowl MVP to because it was just a complete shellacking by that Seattle defense. So they just picked Malcolm Smith because he had the pick six, and Malcolm Smith doesn't even start now.
Right, and if you gave me like someone totally off the wall, like a Danny Amendola or a Michael Bennett, that would be so much more exciting to me than Tom Brady. Russell Wilson.
Do you find Danny Amendola attractive?
Yeah, he's all right. I'm not going to go up to him on the street and be like, hey, babe. But he's all right.
See, I've gotten a number of people say that, oh, my God, Danny Amendola is good looking.
He's all right. I mean, comparatively speaking, to most NFL players, he's an attractive man.
But he's so fragile. I mean,
he really is.
If you're into Danny Amendola, you probably break him, knowing you, Claire.
Well, I'm a little boisterous, as you might call it.
Boom. All right, so looking at some of the matchups, because we'll go traditional Super Bowl preview here, and listed off 5 of them. And Claire, I want you to tell me who you trust or who would win these matchups. First one is going to be the biggest one of the game, IMO. Marshawn Lynch versus Belichick in that defense. Who you get?
Well, I meant to mention this because I'm looking at the notes that you sent because Andy's sweet and he prepared for the show. Your matchups, who wins, Lynch or Belichick's D? That made me laugh because Belichick's D and Lynch, and he grabs his D, and I don't know, it's just really funny to me. Gosh, golly gee, I would go with Marshawn Lynch.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I really would. I mean, he has just proven to be capable in big spots. Mm-hmm. And he does unexpected things sometimes, and I think that he could get by that line and make things happen.
Now, do you think at all that Belichick, with his years of defensive prowess, will just completely sell out the farm to try and neutralize Marshawn Lynch? Because he is the catalyst of that offense, and actually the whole team, too. Because Dana pointed this out when I had her on the Purple for the Win Super Bowl preview earlier, that when Lynch has one of those beast mode runs where he's completely shaking off fools and going the distance, that the entire team will get up on the sidelines and watch him be like, oh, kill him. So he's like the catalyst for the emotions of that team.
Well, you might be right. I mean, he is, at least on the offensive side of the ball. But I don't know. I mean, I hate making these calls because players always do you can call it all you want, but then someone's going to do something that's unconventional and off the wall and you don't expect it, and then you're wrong. And I don't care if I'm wrong. I just don't think I can necessarily say that one particular player on the line won't step up and have his amazing game this week and stop Lynch, or Lynch could do something wild and crazy like he does and kill everybody on the defensive line. I don't know. It's hard, Andy. I'm not good at predictions. I think about it too much.
Nah,
My gut says Lynch.
the Patriots D is definitely the more unheralded of the defenses coming in, but I do think Belichick, Will Fork, Jamie Collins, and Hightower, Chung, Ninkovich, these guys will get after Lynch. You can't completely shut him down, except I think they'll contain him, and I think that's going to be the key to win. But we'll see.
There you go. We'll
Next
see.
up, Russell Wilson versus Belichick's D.
Okay, sorry. I'm 5. I think after the last game, and I am big on how you come into a game like this. Mm-hmm. Russell Wilson was shaken the last game. I mean, he had a horrible first half. Awful. His worst first half ever, or worst half ever.
Well, God made him throw those 4 interceptions.
Where did that come from? Did he say that, or who said that?
I think it was a quote that was sort of taken out of context.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
His post game where he was crying.
Oh, yeah. Okay, gotcha. So I think that Belichick can, if he can create some of those same mistakes by Wilson early in the game, I think that could get him off his track, and he's shown his weaknesses. And I think that Belichick definitely knows how to exploit weaknesses. I'm going with Patriots D.
Now, do you think Belichick got his girlfriend Linda by exploiting her weaknesses?
Probably.
It's probably those baby blue eyes of Belichick. Bill Belichick's baby blues. BBBB.
Yes. It makes me want to vomit, but that's cool.
Other side, Tom Brady versus the Legion of Boom.
Man. I think that he'll make a few mistakes that they can capitalize on. But at the same time, I think overall, when it's nut-cutting time, Tom Brady will be able to execute what needs to be done.
No, time out. What the hell is nut-cutting time?
It's like the do-or-die moment.
Okay, I didn't know if that was an actual, literal Texas colloquialism, because you're down there in the oil fields and then you're having lunch and you got to cut them nuts.
Well, I mean, animals, Like
that.
Yeah.
So not actual peanuts.
Castrating animals.
Or Brazil
that
nuts
sort of thing.
or macadamians.
This is Texas.
Cashews.
So, those nuts. Exactly.
No,
so, nut cutting time. That's real. Nut cutting time.
I'm already tipping my hand a little bit too, but that I think the Patriots will win, because I think Tom Brady's going to come in so pissed off over this deflated football thing that if he has an opportunity, he's going to completely jack fools. And I made this point to Dana when she was on, and we also had Tom Murphy, I believe, the Patriots fan, writer as well, that the Legion of Boom takes away the deep threat all the time because they're so good in the secondary, sitting in their 3 deep. But the Patriots don't really throw vertically. I mean, they got Brandon LaFell and then like 2 short little white dudes. Because Gronk could be considered the vertical threat, except how are you going to match up against Gronk? And I feel like the middle of the field is where this game is going to be won. Danny Amendola and what's his face, the other white guy? Edelman underneath. And Gronk is going to be that deep threat in the middle of the field. I think they're going to go after Earl Thomas with that shoulder right away. So I guess we'll see. Oh, speaking of which, we already jumped into our next matchup. Gronk versus Cam Chancellor and Earl Thomas.
Ooh. I think that they're probably going to throw the ball elsewhere, honestly. I do this game. Because Belichick is so amazing at game planning, and I'm by no means a Patriots fan, legitimately. But if you look at the logistics, he can bring out the best in a player in the situation where he needs that player to produce. And you'll get unexpected guys getting the ball, and he'll totally ignore a superstar for a whole game if the matchup warrants it. So I think that there's a good chance that we see just a couple of passes caught or even go Gronk's way in this game.
I love Gronk.
Do you?
His whole It's not even frat boy. It's literally like middle school.
It is.
Kid.
Did you watch the E60 thing on him?
No.
Oh, you got to.
Okay.
You got to. It's amazing. I mean, it's just funny. And I don't like that juvenile sort of thing. But seeing that, I don't think it's a persona. They talk to his family. He has always been this guy who laughs everything off and doesn't let it get to him
Just
and
the
jokes
big
about
goofy
it.
kid.
He is. And I think that that's legitimately who he is. And he's not stupid. Like Tom Brady said, Gronk doesn't make the same mistakes twice. He learns from his mistakes, which indicates a modicum of intelligence there to me. Obviously, there's a light shining back there in his thinking. He's just really a goofy dude. And that's kind of funny to me. I kind of like Gronk, too.
He has his own party bus. Did you see him at Media Day when someone asked him to read an excerpt from A Gronk to Remember?
No, talk to me about it.
It was exactly how you would think it went.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
I like him.
He's,
yeah.
And the last one, speaking of liking, let's go to the other side. Pete Carroll versus Bill Belichick.
That's a good one. I mean, you think of a couple of mastermind coaches in the NFL, and those two definitely come to mind. There's going to be so much that's not the physical part of the game that is going to determine this outcome. They're going to try to outwit each other the whole game because they have such high levels of intelligence. That one's hard to call. I mean, obviously you have to look at all of the experience and proven accomplishments of Bill Belichick and say, well, his track record speaks for itself. But Pete Carroll, man, it's hard to put much past him.
Did you know that Pete Carroll used to coach the Patriots?
Oh, my God. No, really?
What? I know it's not. Plus, he had a winning record before he got fired for Bill Parcells.
There you have it.
Yeah, and Belichick is the whole cerebral hoodie thing. Been through everything. I do think Pete Carroll is. I think he plays up the rah-rah persona a little bit because you can tell there's a lot going on as far as being a great football mind. I don't think he gets the credit he deserves because. People see the whole college attitude and how it's carried over to the NFL, and he has succeeded because he's gotten great personnel from John Schneider up in Seattle, and he also succeeded at USC because he got great recruits down at USC, but it didn't start out that way. He was like USC's 17th choice for head coach, but he still succeeded. I do think Belichick will get the slight edge in this one because Carroll's coming off that high of the last one. Bill 0 for 2 in the last 2 Super Bowls, hasn't won one since 2004, I want to say. And then this whole deflated ball saying, that's got to work him up just as much as Brady, even though he's like, I'm very angry about this. I'm extremely livid. Yeah.
That was actually really a good impression.
Oh, yeah. Linda, how you doing?
Gross.
No.
I don't think about that.
Cougar, Linda. And I'm going to give the nod to Belichick here.
Do it. I agree.
Speaking of
oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I really think that we have totally tipped our hand as to who we picked.
No, it's okay. We can just predict what the final score is going to be.
We can just
the
be
Patriots
open about
victory. Speaking of tipping our hand, I would like to tip our hands to Katy Perry doing the halftime show. Are you excited for this at all?
You know me and pop music. I don't think I've ever been excited for a halftime show ever. I just don't like it. I don't like people.
You just want Soundgarden to do the halftime show.
If Chris Cornell could do it shirtless, then we're in business, people. Oh yeah.
Well, I don't think Katy Perry's announced who's going to have cameos, so maybe Chris Cornell is actually going to have a little cameo because they always do little crazy little mashups on this.
Right. Well, yeah, like last year.
Well, who's your favorite halftime show of all time?
You know what? And I'm going to say this because it's recent in my brain, and it surprised me because I don't like any of the people when they're not performing at the halftime show. It was last year's with Bruno Mars and Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, yeah?
That surprised me.
Oh, there you go. My all-time favorite, I got to go with the 06 Super Bowl, the one that Peyton Manning finally won down the Orange Bowl when it was raining. Prince. I got to go with my
Prince
man.
was good. Okay, I'll give you that one. That was a good one.
Yeah, plus, I know it's not a song, but when he broke into the Foo Fighters' Best of You, when it was like pouring at halftime, that was so badass. And plus his phallic guitar behind the sheet really looking like Belichick's D.
Hey.
On that note, let that sear in, the whole Belichick's D. We're going to take our last break. We're going to come back in the third segment, talk about Super Bowl facts and figures, some commercials, and our final predictions. Well, you already know, but stay tuned. We'll be right back. Claire-Vs-Carlson. The Purple for the Win podcast is your one-stop shop for the team you hate that you love. That's right, dedicated to the pain and pleasure that is the Minnesota Vikings. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube for our weekly and bi-weekly mediocrity. And, of course, there's always purpleftw.com. Because, aside from nipple clamps and chains and whips, cheering for the Purple People Eaters is probably the most pleasurable pain you can experience on this planet. So come on in for the mediocre analysis and the more mediocre humor. PurpleFTW.com. That's right, PurpleFTW.com.
Straight cash, homie.
And we're back for the third and final period of the Claire-Vs-Carlson Show. Even though, it's kind of weird that we break into periods because this isn't a hockey show.
No, it's not, but it could be.
It could be now. Does Houston have like a minor league hockey team or anything like
No, they left. I think they went to like Des Moines or something.
that? It's pretty bad when you lose your team to Des Moines.
Well, yeah. I mean, the Houston had a CHL team here for years and years, and IHL and something else. I don't know. But just recently, like 2 years ago, they left for Des Moines, and it makes me sad because those were really fun games, the Houston Aero games. They were really a lot of fun, and I miss hockey in Houston. I really do, but I guess it just doesn't have the support needed. I don't know.
Something that does get a lot of support is Super Bowl commercials. And a lot of people do watch the game strictly for the commercials, except they're starting to leak out Super Bowl commercials days before just so people can, get the conversation going on social media because that's what everyone does all the time. And the GoDaddy commercial was leaked. A lot of people thought that was dumb and out of place. It featured a dog being sold on the internet, and ain't nobody got time for that. The Budweiser one, did you see the Budweiser?
No, I did not. Well, I think it's not part of it.
It's the trilogy of the Clydesdale and the puppy being, they're all friends. And in this one, the dog gets lost and is found again, finds the farm, finds his way all the way back, and then, there's a wolf that's going to eat the dog at the end. But then the horses get out of the barn and they charge the wolf and I assume bludgeon him to death. Well, he just runs off, but in my mind, those horses are completely curb stomping that wolf, yeah.
That's kind of cute.
It's
the
kind
sweet, heartwarming stories are cute.
See, I never really tear up for commercials, but when it's like dogs when they're sad, like there's an insurance commercial. I think it's Farmers when they had the dog who buried a bone in the yard, pulls it out, and then takes it to the safe deposit box at the bank, and then he can't sleep because one of my bones not safe. So he's like having a bad dream about it, and that one actually.
Poor dog.
It's always dogs and animal commercials that do it for me.
Animals touch your heart, man.
And then you just go and pet your dog and hold them a little tighter that night because
my dog doesn't live with me. Don't make me sad.
All right,
You're
so
making me sad.
other side of the spectrum, Domino's had a 50 Shades of Grey ad. What did you think of that?
Luckily, I missed it because I'm not like a 50 Shades sort of girl. But
What?
no, I'm not. It's like Twilight for adults.
I suppose. And a 30-second spot for this year's commercial will cost you a cool $4 to $4.5 million. Now, I look forward to the day that I'm well off enough where I can just buy up like a complete commercial block and then just have it be like a webcam of me just like, I don't know, eating a chicken wing. Be like, hello. Shout out to everyone. Just listen off. See, I'm surprised that if I was a billionaire, that you just wouldn't just buy up a block of Super Bowl commercials as a burp.
Just to have fun with it.
Yeah.
Oh, someone might like that, but apparently no one has yet. So
you tell me that Warren Buffett, who seems like a pretty kooky and fun dude, just buy up all the Super Bowl commercials, and every time it'll just be him playing his ukulele.
Well, he hasn't done it yet, so I don't know. I mean, why wouldn't? If you're going to do it.
There's still time, Warren. I know you're old, but there's still time. What have been a couple of your favorite Super Bowl commercials of all time?
Oh gosh, I'm awful with commercials. Awful with my memory. The beginning of the Budweiser one last year, I guess it was pretty good. Gosh, I can't even think of any. You tell me your favorites. You're better at storytelling.
I really like the Bud Light ones before they started getting weird. Like the one last year where it's like, oh, are you down for whatever, dude? He's just showing up for a party and he's going to play ping pong with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Then they got stupid. But when they were actually funny, like legitly funny, and they're usually in the first block of the Super Bowl, like one of the first commercials, I enjoyed those. And the Doritos ones, the one that sticks out in my mind where this guy's coming over to take this lady out. She has a son there, and he's got a bag of Doritos. And then the guy tries to take a Dorito. He's like, you don't touch my mama, you don't touch my Doritos.
That's pretty good.
That's probably my favorite one.
That's
just like
one.
the funny ones, and not like the over-the-top serious ones like, what was it, Ford did the Clint Eastwood, it's halftime, America.
Yes, that was awful. That's awful. Don't turn your commercial into some sort of political statement. That's annoying.
Yeah, we want to laugh and eat. And what do you think about the stupid GoDaddy ones?
Man, I'm gonna be like all feministy high horse right now, but anybody who uses half-naked chicks to sell something in this day and age is just stupid to me. Whatever. I don't have time for all that. You got a better way to convince people to buy things. Use it.
Well, what if it's for ad for a strip club though?
Well, then, okay, you're selling sex. So then use what you're sell your product. Quit walking around the product and make it so that I want to buy your product. I want to use your product. I could use GoDaddy less because of their ads.
Wait, so Budweiser should stop using horses and dogs to sell their stuff instead
because
show little frat boys in the corner vomiting because Donnie Bartolotti lost too many beer pong games.
Budweiser has always had a horse, had the Clydesdale horses.
Why? It doesn't make sense. Is the beer made out of horse, Claire?
Well, no, but I think that you have an iconic brand that has an iconic mascot, I guess it is. And so, of course, you're going to use that because people connect that horse with your product. People want to connect a half-naked Danica Patrick to your product, whatever, man. I mean, if that's the message you want to sell, then you're not marketing to me. Okay, there. Maybe you're marketing to most of the Super Bowl viewing public.
You know,
but I don't feel like I'm being marketed.
Just wait. Danica Patrick's going to do a Budweiser ad next year.
That would be funny. I wonder if she'll wear clothes.
Budweiser, American beer owned by the Dutch.
Yep.
All right, so checking out of that, back to the actual Super Bowl. I got some facts and some figures and some questions here for you, Claire. Now, it's going to be quasi-trivia, except I know the trivia freaks you out because you're very only Aggie, Houstonian-centric. Like, if I rattled off like 15 Vernon Maxwell questions, you get every single one of them with confidence. But this is the Super Bowl, so some very friendly, some very easy ones here. So the first one is, which stadium has hosted the most number of Super Bowls?
Oh my gosh.
To give you a hint,
What?
the number is 7.
The Superdome. New Orleans.
Superdome. Ding, ding.
I was just there yesterday.
I do not have the sound effects loaded up, but I'll just do it myself. Ding, ding. Why were you at the Superdome?
Because I was working in New Orleans.
Oh, so that's just what you do in New Orleans?
Well, I mean, I was like right there by it. So I wasn't inside of the Superdome, but I'm right there like on Sugar Bowl Avenue or Drive or whatever it is.
Now, were you confused in that it's Super Bowl week, but you decided to go to the Superdome because it sounds similar?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened, Andy. I had no idea where the Super Bowl was going to be played this year, so I was just hopeful if I was in New Orleans I would score. But no.
Fun fact, no team has ever played the Super Bowl in their home stadium. The more you know.
Well,
Except
that's why.
Except the Minnesota Vikings Super Bowl 52. Hello.
Of course. Sure, we'll see that happen positively, Andy.
And the Texans in Super Bowl 51.
Yeah, okay. I'll believe it when I see it. But yeah, I mean, you can remember, what's his name? Bruce Arians going on all season about his team playing Super Bowl. Then the first team to play the Super Bowl in their home stadium. And, of course, we saw how that panned out. He jinxed them.
And they continue to play Ryan Lindley because he's stubborn.
Well, yeah, pretty much.
Oh, you know what's going on right now?
What?
Oh, wait, no. I completely got that wrong. So I'm on Twitter right now, and I'm reading a tweet from the Pioneer Press. It said Cat Video Festival moves to new Saint Stadium. And they're talking about the St. Paul Saints, which is a minor league team. And I thought for a second they were talking about the Superdome, so I would have asked you about the Cat Video Festival.
Well, sadly, I would have just missed that, so that's too bad.
Even all up on that. Franchise who has won the most Super Bowls with 6 is which team?
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, correct. And there are 2 teams that each have 5. What teams are they?
Oh, my gosh. Okay, San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Not the Patriots. Tell me.
The Dallas Cowboys.
Dallas. Nice.
Sass. 2 teams are 0-4 in the Super Bowl. What teams are they?
0-4 sucks. The Bills.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you tell us who the other team is, Andy?
The Minnesota Vikings. Which team has the most losses in Super Bowl history?
The most losses in Super Bowl history.
With 5.
Oh, goodness gracious. So it's not the Bills. It should be the Bills, but it's not the Bills. I don't know. You tell me.
The Denver Broncos.
Oh.
Because they started out 0-4, then they got 2 with Elway and Terrell Davis, and then they got shellacked last year.
Yep.
Boom.
Yep.
They're 2-5 in the Super Bowl. A largest margin of victory is what? Actually, I'll just tell you because Super Bowl 24, San Francisco beat Denver. There we go. 55-10, 45 points. Boom.
Wow. That's it. That was in what, the 80s?
Yes, it was 1980 something.
6?
Something 80. All right,
okay.
So 1990, January 1st, 1990. So the first Super Bowl of the 90s, boom. Smallest margin of victory is 3 points. I'm surprised that it hasn't been closer.
Right. You would expect in the biggest game that there would be more close games, more like 21-20 or, 35-34.
That has happened 4 times. First one, Super Bowl 5. The Baltimore Colts beat the Dallas Cowboys 16-13. And then the next 3 were all New England involved, so maybe they got a slight edge somewhere. Super Bowl 36, Patriots over the St. Louis Rams. Great show on turf, 20-17. Brady's first. Super Bowl 39, Patriots over Carolina, 24-21. And then Super Bowl 42, Giants beat the Patriots 17-14. Tyree Bowl.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good work.
The Lombardi Trophy, named after a coach of, some loser franchise,
right.
Is made by Tiffany Company, and it is 7 pounds of sterling silver. I'm surprised it's not platinum.
Are you?
Although they'll probably get pretty spendy.
Yeah, that would be really spendy. And imagine if something happened to that. Whoa.
Or won't they make it lead with platinum coating?
There you go.
Or
That's an idea. You should talk to people about that.
Yeah, I know. All right, so true or false? No Super Bowl has ever gone to overtime. True or false?
That one's hard. Because I didn't look this up in advance or anything. So I'm going to go with false.
It is actually true. There have been no Super Bowls that have gone to overtime. The closest one was the St. Louis Rams over the Tennessee Titans, 23-16. That actually happened today. It's the 15th anniversary of that. You remember when Kevin Dyson was on the 1-yard line? Just
yes. Yes.
Now, were you rooting against the Titans in that game? You can be honest.
What year was that game?
2000.
I think at that point, yeah, I had turned against the Titans.
Because they stole your team, they stole your hat, and you weren't getting your own franchise for another 2 years.
I needed time to get over it. It was a very emotional time. At first, I still wanted Eddie George and Frank Wycheck and, Steve McNair to win and do well, and Jeff Fisher. But then over time, it became just the bitterness became overwhelming, and I started to hate them. So, yeah.
Jeff Fisher and his mustache. Because he started coaching his career in Houston, right?
In Houston, yep. He was a babe.
Yeah, because he was there for, I think it was a shade under 37 years, wasn't it?
37 years. Oh, when his age?
No, how many years he coached the Titans/Oilers.
37 years, I think, is a stretch.
And always going 8-8. It is great.
Always 8-8.
As the winning team of the Super Bowl, each player gets $97,000. The losers get $49,000. Boom.
I'll take it.
Teams that have never been to the Super Bowl, there are 4 of them. Claire, could you name them?
Well, I know the Texans have never been. The Browns haven't been.
Yep.
The rest are hard. Did the Jags ever go to the Super Bowl?
No, the Jags have not gone to the Super Bowl. 1 team left.
Oh, wow. I don't know. This is hard. My brain got tired just now.
The Detroit Lions.
Oh.
So you're kind of saying that the AFC South is the most depleted for Super Bowls and Super Bowl appearances. Is what you're trying to say.
I'm not trying to say that, but apparently it's the truth. So, what else? Because
the Titans have been to 1, and then the Baltimore Colts / Indianapolis Colts have been to 4.
There you go.
So it's only 5 in your division, Claire.
Well,
Not saying, I'm just saying. Although there's 2 expansion teams in there, so you got to give a little leeway.
I think so, but that's whatever. It is whatever.
And future sites of the Super Bowl, we already talked about 51's in Houston, 52's in Minneapolis. Where is Super Bowl 50, Claire?
Super Bowl 50
Biddy.
is in Biddy. Oh, yeah, that one's in California in whatever, 49ers land.
Yeah, correct. Levi's Stadium, the Field of Jeans, as it were, in Santa Clara, California, not San Francisco, because it's actually about 50 miles away from San Francisco. But that's neither here nor there. And that is Super Bowl fun facts and figures. Did you learn something?
I learn something every time you enlighten my life, Andy.
You enlighten my life. That's what I do. All right, so let's get all this nonsense out of the way. Stone cold prediction, final score, and who is your Super Bowl MVP, Claire?
Final score, I'm going 27-24.
Mm-hmm.
Patriots. And it's going to be boring. It's going to be Tom Brady as your MVP.
See, I'm going to spice it up.
Spice it up.
Everybody, not everybody, everybody, talking about how the Seattle defense is so great and how this Patriots defense, it's good. It's not great, but it's good. But I actually think it's going to be an offensive shootout. Give me 37-31 Patriots. And also I say 37 because there's going to be a freak safety in there somewhere. Just somewhere. Because you know that they're always going to be. Might not be in the first offensive snap of the game like last year, but It's going to be in there somewhere. And my Super Bowl MVP, they want to give it to Tom Brady, but this young man-child, Robert Gronkowski, is going to go 12 for 189 and 3 touchdowns. You can't not give it to him because I think Earl Thomas is going to be significantly hampered by that shoulder because he may be feeling good now, but one hit, even with the needle, I think Gronk gets a little loose and boom. Patriots.
All right.
4th ring.
That should be fun. That'll be fun.
And they put this whole deflate gate behind them.
Yay. I'm really tired of it.
But if they do get the opportunity, I would not be surprised if they're able to somehow blow out the Seahawks. I would not be surprised if Brady plays the whole game and Belichick is chucking it downfield the entire time until they put up 60.
That should be fun.
If Belichick had his way, he would make this 63-10 if he could. Just be
love it.
Oh, and then when they accept the Super Bowl trophy, Dan Patrick's giving them when the confetti's coming down. I was like, no. What do you think of that? Inflatable balls and everything.
Good times, Belichick. Right. Surly Belichick is the best Belichick.
All right, Claire, what's your plans for watching the game? Where are you going to be watching on Sunday?
I'm being domestic. I'm going to be with my boyfriend and his kids and family, and we're going to hang out and watch the game and cook things just be chilling. What about you?
Pretty much the same. Got invited to a couple Super Bowl parties, but probably going to just chill in and probably make some wings, make some pizza, probably some other stuff as well. What sort of food? Your boyfriend's like a chef, so does he do the cooking or do you make cocktail weenies?
Well, I make things. I haven't quite decided what I'm going to make yet because I have to be sure that it's kid-friendly because, they like McNuggets a lot, so I have to make them,
I like chicken nuggets, too. I'm not going
to Okay, fine, but that's their preferred food.
Yep.
So I have to be very, conscious of their little baby taste buds. But he's going to do, all the meat stuff on the grill, and then I'm going to do the inside stuff, I think, is how we're going to play it. So it should be fun.
Ooh, are you going to do any of those cream cheese pinwheels?
I don't think so, no. That's not really my thing.
Is that a Midwestern thing?
I think so. I don't usually
see it's weird because you take a tortilla, or as you pronounce it down there, tortilla, and then you spread cream cheese on it, and then you can put deli meat or dried beef or pretty much anything you really want, and then roll it up and then slice it.
Oh. I think I've seen them.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I don't know. It sounds kind of good. It could be good.
Boom. All right, Claire. Your second to last show. Is there any words of wisdom that you have for the peeps?
Well, continue to take everything that Andy says with a grain of salt, because Andy's not very good at predicting things sometimes. God love him. Bless his sweet little heart. And I don't know. That's about it.
Now, the only time you should take a grain of salt with me is when we're shooting tequila.
Oh, my. Okay.
Getting caught in the rain. All right, so Claire, next week we will wrap up the Super Bowl, but it's going to be mostly dedicated to you, so you got to be ready to talk about your deep-seated emotions and your id and your biggest secret in life. Where did you hide the bodies? Things like that. Revelations.
Therapy? I can't. Yeah, man. I'll cry. Let's not make me cry.
Oh, that's gonna be my goal. You were gonna tear the up. I'm gonna talk about.
No.
I'm gonna talk about all puppies. I'm gonna talk about all Carnival cruise ships. I'm gonna talk about all clowns. All the other things that could make you possibly tear up.
Really? Why do you have to upset me?
I'm gonna talk about the time. I'm gonna talk about the time you dated a Scotch bonnet pepper, and then you got to first base, and then you were burning for like a week.
No, let's not, please.
Fine. But we are out of here. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Go Patriots for both of us because the 12th man. I like Seahawks fans, but the post-2012 Seahawks fans are the worst, and so they do not deserve nice things. And that's mainly my outlook on life as a Vikings fan. I just want to make sure other teams do not have nice things. But we all. I'm Andy. She is Claire. Say goodnight, Claire.
Good night, Claire.
Enjoy the Super Bowl, everybody. We'll be back next week for Claire's finale episode, and I'm going to make her cry. That is all.
The music was created and produced by Deeb. To hear more of his tracks, check out soundcloud.com/Deeb.